multiplying by a decimal. So this is really whenever we've got a decimal times by a decimal, because if we had a decimal times by a whole number, we've already looked at how we do that. So even if it was 7 times 0.8, the way in which we would do that is do 0.8 multiplied by 7, because the order doesn't matter in multiplication. So what we're really looking at here is a decimal times by a 7, or a decimal times by a decimal as outlined in these 4 examples. So first of all, we ignore the decimal points and we multiply normally. Then we add the decimal point to the answer, and to know where we put it, we count the total number of decimal places in the question, and we should have the same number in the answer. So if we look at 0.9 times 0.8, so 0.9 multiplied by 0.8, what we do is multiply those together as if they were just 9 times 8. So 8 times 9 is 72, so we put down a 2 and carry 7. 8 noughts are naught, plus 7 is 7, so we've got 72. Now what we can see all together in the question, we've got a total of 2 decimal places. And that's because there's the 1 from the 9 and the 1 from the 8. So there's a total of 2. In the answer, we need a total of 2 decimal places. And counting back, we've got 2 as the first one, 7 is the second. So then the decimal point must go before the 7 and then a 0 before it. So our answer then is 0.72. In 0.003 times 0.4, if we were to do 3 times 4, the answer is going to be 12. But in the question, what we can see is that there is a total of 4 decimal places. There's 3 from the 0.003 and 1 from the 4. So what we need to do is we need to write the answer as a 12 with 4 decimal places in total. So we need to put in 2 extra zeros before the 12 and then put a 0 in. So now what we've got is 4 decimal places with a 12 at the end. So when we're doing these, whatever the number comes to that we're multiplying, they're always the last 2 numbers. So we wouldn't put zeros after the 2 to make it up to the 4. We always put the zeros in front of the number. So example C, let's do 70 times 3. So we're ignoring the decimal places. So 3 noughts are naught, 3 sevens are 21. So we've got 210. In the question, so there was no decimal places in the 70. There's 2 in the 0.03. So that means there's a total of 2 decimal places. So we want 2 decimal places within this number 210. And to achieve that, we're going to have to put the decimal point between the 2 and the 1. So the answer there is 2.10 or just 2.1. 0.25 times 0.24. So let's do 25 times 24 first of all. So this is long multiplication, so we need to multiply by the 4 first of all. To do that, so we're going to have 4 times 5 is 20. Naught and carry a 2. And then 4 2s are 8, plus 2 is 10. And then we've got 100. So we've multiplied by the 4 first of all. We now need to multiply by the 2. This 2 is really a 20. And to do that, we put down a 0 and then times by 2. So 2 times 5 is 10, 0 and carry a 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. So we've got 500. Adding these together, 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 1 plus 5 is 6. Now we need to do our decimal points. In the question, 0.25 times 0.24, we can see there's a total of 4 decimal places. 2 from the 0.25 and 2 from the 0.24. In our answer, we always count from the first digit. So here we've got a total of 3 decimal places. So we need to put in a 0 in front of the 6 to make a fourth. So the answer then is going to be 0.0600. So we've got our 4 decimal places there. But really we could just write that as 0.06 because the 2 zeros don't really change its value whenever we go to write our answer line. But we need the 2 zeros then to make up our 4 decimal places. So first, ignore the decimal points altogether and multiply normally. Then count the number of decimal places in the question and put that in your answer. And we always start counting from the last digit of our answer. So 3 4s are 12, the 2 is going to be the last decimal point, and the 1 is going to be the one before that, so that's going to be the last 2 decimal places. And 25 times 24 is 600. The 600 is going to make up our last 3 decimal places.